What's up, cool cats? Welcome to my channel. If you are new, hey y'all, hey, glad you're here. Come on in. Okay, go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe button for more videos. And this particular video is for the parents who are interested in homeschooling their child or children. I have been homeschooling all of my kids. Eli is 10. He's been homeschooled so I've been homeschooling for about kindergarten since about 4 or 5 years old. Okay, but as a homeschool teacher, you are never not teaching. Every moment is a teachable moment. So for all my returning subscribers, heart your way. Go ahead and like this video. If you haven't subscribed to the vibe, anybody, if you haven't subscribed for the vibe. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and knock these questions out. It's not a lot of questions. People ask the same questions just differently. So I'm just going to tackle them all in this video. So, how to start the process of homeschooling. What do you need to do? Bam. Good question. So, if you're like, first of all, if your kid is in school currently, you're going to need to inform the school. You're going to need to contact the school board. Now, if your child isn't in school yet and you're preparing, then the same thing. You're going to need to contact the school board, and you can find that on Google. You just type in Richmond. If you're in, wherever you are, I'm in Virginia, so you would just type in like Virginia School Board. You can type in homeschool Richmond, Virginia, or homeschool Virginia in your zip code, something like that, you know, and then the information will pop up. So then I will have on the screen too, so you'll see it there. So I ain't gonna leave y'all high and dry with my words, so y'all be like, what am I supposed to do? I got y'all, okay? It's gonna be on the screen for y'all to see it, so don't worry about that. So that's how you get started though. You want to contact the school, you want to contact the school board, you want to let them know that you're wanting to homeschool. What they're going to do is they're going to send you what's called an intent form. I got mine sent via email, and I printed it out the very first time, but as of now I just I fill it out online and I send it via email, so I don't even need to print it out. So see what happens when you do things. You find little shortcuts and little easier ways to do things. So most of the time I communicate with them through them, as in the head of the person who's in charge of, they have like a certain department for people who want to homeschool. So you would be contacting someone from the administrative office that will give you the information, and we usually contact each other via email. I did call her a few times just for extra clarification, so don't be afraid to call them. Once you get comfortable enough, then you can just send emails, you know, once comfortable as in you understand what you're doing. So just call them. They're not like,
you want to homeschool? Why you don't want them in public school?
They're not gonna be all like that, so you don't have to worry about that. Don't even put that scenario in your head, because they really are very informative. They give you all the information. They tell you everything you need to know, and so nothing to be afraid of. Just make that call or send that email, and they'll contact you. So you'll be contacting someone from the administrative office of the school board, okay? The Department of Testing, Assessments, Literacy, and Research. So you'll be contacting someone from the testing and data thing. They deal with homeschoolers, okay? That part is probably like the most confusingest part, me trying to explain who you'll be contacting. But you'll be contacting someone from the school board. You'll be dealing with an administrative assistant that works in that department that will give you all the information that you need on homeschooling in your state. Be sure to look up, again, I'm in Virginia. If you're not in Virginia, I don't know. You're gonna have to take my advice and just apply it to whatever state you're in, and then again make the call to figure it out. If you're in a different state, you're still gonna have to call the first time, and then after that, like I said, it's email. So what you want to do is you want to contact them, let them know that you want to homeschool. They're gonna give you a piece of paper that's that you're going to fill out. It's going to have your kids' information on there, what grade they're in, and you're going to also need to send in a list of what you are going to be teaching your child. Now, as a homeschool teacher, they aren't really, I'm not going to say they don't care what you're teaching them, but you're held responsible for what your child is being taught, and they do ask that you teach your child basic math and basic, you know, reading, writing, those skills. But other than that, they really put everything into your hands as the homeschool teacher. So they don't look at your lesson plans. They don't want you to send in your lesson plans. They want, you know, just that list of what they're going to be learning, and their information, the kids' information, your phone number, your email, your contact information, basically. And yeah, so once you fill that out, they are going to, you know, review it and then approve of it, send you a letter in the mail saying, yep, it's official, you're good. They might even send an email as well saying, yep, you're good. And then from there, you're good. So what do they learn? And how do I teach them? What's the curriculum? So every moment as a homeschool teacher, as a parent, first of all, as a parent, you are a teacher. It's automatic, right? But when you are homeschooling your child, many people do this different ways. So talking to me, maybe talking to somebody else, you might get two different answers. So it's not like school. I know it says homeschool, but it literally is just home instruction. Okay, is a better way to take that, because when people think homeschool, they're thinking like, yes, they are learning at home, but they're thinking like, oh, there's a classroom, you have a house and a classroom in your house, and it's set up like that, and y'all are in there for like 6 to 8 hours, and you're teaching them, and you're doing amazing, and it's teacher of the year every year for you. But that's not how it is for me and our household. So in the beginning, I did have the room, and I did, like, you know, sat them down and was really going over it for an hour or two. But all the kids don't learn good that way. They was happy, you know, like, you know, the attention span wasn't there. So what we do is every moment is a teachable moment. A lot of our instruction is verbal, so a lot of their lessons are verbal lessons. They do have like hands-on lessons. They do have that 30 minutes to an hour where they are sitting down and they're like writing or reading, or they're watching an educational video, or, you know, with another teacher or something like that. That does happen, but most of their learning is verbal, and every day, every moment is literally a teachable moment. So for example, if they pick up cards, you know, it's like, oh, how many cards are in the deck? Count them out. Now you're about to learn counting. If you didn't know how to count past 20, you're about to learn today. So it's kind of like that, you know, every moment is a teachable moment, but it's mostly verbal. It's not sit down, take notes. It's not like that. It's not how we went to school. So that's what's different. And as far as the curriculum, we don't really go by a curriculum. There are some things that I write down that I make sure that I want them to learn. So like if I want them to learn like sign language or a different language, then I'll make a note of that, and I'll make sure that I prepare some content, like some easy learning videos. Or my girl Sha, she has these learning books, so I'll have them like look in it, or, you know, something like that. And that's just an example. But like whenever there's something that I really want them to learn, like I'll make a note of it, and then I'll prepare some stuff. But again, it's mostly verbal and repetition, verbal repetition. If you've seen my kids in person, you know they are very intelligent. Like people are always like, what school do you go to? I'm homeschooled. Oh, really? And I'm in the back like, they are. And so that pegs the question, because you tell people like, oh, they're homeschooled. We go to Grown Minds Homeschool Academy, right? And they're like, you're homeschooled. And then they're like, so not only people do,
okay, what's 2 plus 2?
They're also like,
Well, what about socializing? Don't you have, like, aren't they gonna be weird because they're not getting that socializing that they would get in public schools or in other kinds of schools with other kids?
But that's actually a very common question that people always seem to think that, like, if you're homeschooled, you're gonna be like in isolation, you're never gonna see people again, like that. Like, people, let me put some chapstick on my lips. My lips are dry. So that is actually one that we get a lot. Like, what about socializing? So it's really offensive, that question, because it's like, you don't think I'm gonna be talking to my kids? You don't think I'm gonna be talking to them? Us communicating all day long. You don't think that's socializing? You think I'm just gonna shut them in the room? We're homeschooling. No, people. Come on, wake up. Socializing comes from communication, okay? We go to the stores, they're communicating. We go to parks and playgrounds, and like kids in the neighborhood come around and they're talking and they're playing and they're enjoying other kids, socializing. They are always socializing, and plus having four, they socialize with themselves as well. So there's a lot of socializing actually going around. Like, just because they're homeschooled doesn't mean that they don't play with kids that do go to school, or, you know, they don't have family members and things like that. So they're always socializing. Socializing is a form of talking and connecting and bonding, and they're very, very good with holding a conversation as well and making friends, which surprises me sometimes, because like my kids will be like playing at the playground, and then like boom, a whole crowd of kids are like, Eli, or hey, you know, they were yelling, like they'll be like Freya, you know, and they're like connecting with other kids. So it's very natural. Kids are very social creatures. They're social butterflies, and so they're always socializing. Like whenever we go out, like, and if they're not, and if there's no one around, they socialize with themselves. So there's a lot of socializing going on everywhere. And so my advice to people who want to homeschool, I would say do it. Oh, also, I should have said this in the beginning, but I kind of forgot. The qualifications of homeschool. What do you need? What type of education? Nobody really asked that question, but I just thought of it because that's a really good question on what you need. You do need a high school diploma. You need at least a high school diploma or a GED in order to be qualified for homeschool. Someone else can homeschool your child, but I think you have to sign off on that and then let the school board know that they're going to be under such and such for homeschooling. And then, you know, you would let them know, and then there would be a paper for you to sign, for them to sign, and that. But again, if you're, like I said, like when you're homeschooling, that home instruction becomes your responsibility. But yeah, so that was something that I wanted to say, that you are going to need at least a high school diploma or a GED in order to qualify as someone who could homeschool their child. That's it. And you know, be able to teach them basic math and, you know, reading, writing, that stuff. So my advice is to, yeah, get educated on like what are your qualifications, because maybe, like I said, I'm in Virginia. If you're not in Virginia, I don't know what your state qualifications are, so check that out. Join some Facebook groups. I joined some homeschool Facebook groups. I actually met some really cool people in those homeschool groups, people who match me, and you know, so it was really, really cool. I was in some homeschool groups that was curriculum based. I'm in some homeschool groups that's like more like me, where it's just like going off of like my kids' curiosity. So like they come in and say like, what's da 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 da, and that's what we're going to be focused on today. So like kid-based learning, I guess, I don't know what it would be called. Free schooling, I don't know what it's called. Then there's road schooling, where people are traveling with their kids and they're like seeing the whole world, and that was the goal, y'all. Yes. But yeah, and just, so yeah, get out there, get connected with other people who homeschool. don't beat yourself up, and don't, like, just pull from everybody, like, and see what works with your kids and see what doesn't. That's really what you're gonna have to do, trial and error, because every kid doesn't learn the same. And my kids don't really learn from like sitting and just this is this, and not for a long period of time anyway. So they do get that, but it's not for a long period of time. Like, it's not hours, you know. But yeah, so yeah, that's my advice. Just learn your kid. Let them be sort of like, you know, just like, what are you guys thinking about today? What do you want to learn today? And if they don't really have anything that they want to learn today, maybe you want to learn something today, and you can just introduce them to what you're learning. Like, when I'm learning about the body and anatomy, they're learning about the body and anatomy, because that also helps me learn, and that helps them to be more knowledgeable in that aspect as well. So, and that's what I do. Like, I just treat it like that. And my advice is, don't get so worked up, don't let it overwhelm you. Yeah, it's easier once you find your groove. And then you have until the next school year to turn in, because it's like, you know, an evaluation. When you're homeschooling, you do have to put your kid through like an evaluation, which the doctor can evaluation basically like measures if your child is on a first grade level or second grade level or third grade level. It just measures to see if they're on that grade level that they say they're on. A doctor, a therapist, a teacher, these are people who qualify to fill out that evaluation. If you can't find a particular person, and again, like, make that call, and they will give you a list of who qualifies to be someone who can give your child an evaluation, and it would be approved. So if you can't find anybody to do that, or you're not comfortable with asking, then you can have your child take an evaluation test, or it's like a end of the year test. And I go through Homeschool Pro. Excuse me. I go to Homeschool Buyers Co-op. That's what I go through, and I'll have like a link back at the bottom, so you can get $5 off your first time. And they have a lot of resources, you know, for homeschoolers. They also make it, you know, you can order like a school ID, a picture ID for yourself, so you can get like the teacher discount, and your child can get like a student discount. So they do like all kinds of things, and they have like a lot of resources. So it's Homeschool Buyers Co-op. And so, like I said, they have a lot of resources. So definitely check out your free resources before you do anything that's paid, because free is best. Check them out first and do your free trials when it comes to like a program, if you're interested in programs like ABC Mouse, K through 12. Those are some of the ones that I know off the top of my head. But yeah, that's my advice. Just do your research. And don't second guess yourself. Like, I mean, think about your experience in school, like where there was bullying and where there was just having to keep up with the trends and things like that. So anyone won't really want to deal with that. Plus, I wanted to be more of an influence on my kids versus like having the other students teach my kids these different types of things that I probably wouldn't agree with. So yeah, it's just like being the main influence in your kid's life, and doing that has definitely, you know, it's just, so yeah, some people are not going to be able to homeschool their kids. That's just the fact of it, because for whatever reason. But homeschooling is not for everybody. But I would say, like, try it and then see, because some people like,
no, I can't do this, we need a break, and
you know, or whatever they got to say, like,
I barely passed school, so I don't want to mess my kid up, or
whatever. But you know, you got to think about it. When your kid comes home and they see what you're doing, you're already teaching them by your example. So you're already a teacher by being a parent. So whether you want to homeschool them or so if you wanted to homeschool them, I hope this video was very helpful. And yeah, that was it, you guys. hopefully it was informative. If it was, give me a like. If you have any questions for me about homeschooling, or if you want to see like a day in the life of how we actually homeschool and what it's like, then leave me a comment, or you know, if you have any questions or something like that, then leave me a comment. I would love to connect with you or answer any questions that you have. So yeah, see ya.